Artists and repertoire is the division of a record label or music publishing company that is responsible for talent scouting and overseeing the artistic development of recording artists and/or songwriters. It also acts as a liaison between artists and the record label or publishing company. Every activity involving artists to the point of album release is generally considered under the purview of, and responsibility of, A&R. Responsibilities: finding talent. The A&R division of a record label is responsible for finding new recording artists and bringing them to the record company. They are expected to understand the current tastes of their market and to be able to find artists that will be commercially successful. For this reason, A&R people are often young and many are musicians, music journalists or record producers. An A&R executive is authorized to offer a record contract, often in the form of a deal memo, a short informal document that establishes a business relationship between the recording artist and the record company. The actual contract negotiations will typically be carried out by rival entertainment lawyers hired by the musician's manager and the record company. A&R executives rely mostly on the word of mouth of trusted associates, critics and business contacts, rather than unsolicited demo tapes. They also tend to favor the bands that play in the same city as the record label's offices. Overseeing the recording process, the A&R division of a record label oversees the recording process. This includes helping the artist to find the right record producer, scheduling time in a recording studio and advising the artist on all aspects of making a high-quality recording. They work with the artist to choose the best songs to record. For artists who do not write their own music, they will assist in finding songs and songwriters. A&R executives maintain contact with their counterparts at music publishing companies to get new songs and material from songwriters and producers. As the record nears completion, the A&R department works closely with the artist to determine if the record is acceptable to the record company. This may include suggesting that new songs need to be written or that some album tracks need re-recording. A key issue is whether the album has a single, a particular track which can be used to market the record on radio. As Tom Petty sang in Into the Great Wide Open, the industry cliché copyright, "I don't hear a single," refers to this process. Assisting with marketing and promotion, once the record is completed, the A&R department chooses a single to help promote the record. History and influence. The tastes of particular A&R executives have influenced the course of music history. A&R man John H. Hammond discovered Billie Holiday, Bob Dylan, Aretha Franklin and Bruce Springsteen. Hammond's colleagues were initially skeptical of these artists because none of them appeared to be creating commercial music. However, Hammond's instincts proved to be correct and these artists went on to sell hundreds of millions of records. Geffen Records' Gary Juge signed the band Nirvana at a time when alternative rock music was not considered commercial. Juge was able to convince his co-workers to push the record in spite of their misgivings. In cases like these, A&R people have radically changed the direction of popular musical tastes and introduced large numbers of people to new sounds. However, this kind of prescience is the exception, rather than the rule. Historically, A&R executives have tended to sign new artists that fit into recent trends and who resemble acts that are currently successful. For example, Columbia Records' A&R man in the 1950s, Mitch Miller, favored traditional pop singers like Guy Mitchell and Patti Page, and rejected early rock and rollers Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly. This trend-following mindset has caused several waves of narrowly defined genres leading to a perception of triteness, including teen pop, alternative rock, hair metal and disco. Trend following can be counterproductive, since it has often led to a backlash. Towards the end of each wave, record companies have found themselves faced with enormous losses as consumers' tastes changed. For example, at the end of the disco boom in 1978, millions of records were returned by record retailers, causing a deep recession in the music business that lasted until 1982, when Michael Jackson's Thriller finally brought the public back into record stores in large numbers. The general move towards more conservative and business-minded signings from the 1980s onwards is seen to be symptomatic of an industry where the most powerful figures are no longer music fans or people with musical backgrounds, but business people. Traditionally A&R executives were composers, arrangers and producers. Atlantic Records' heads Jerry Wexler and Ahmet Ertegun were producers and composers respectively. But an A&R with musical ability and knowledge has become a rarity, with Ron Fair and Martin Kiersenborn being notable recent exceptions. The composer and arranger Richard Niles has said, "What you've got now is huge multinational companies where most of their A&R staff are businessmen. They're unregistered trademark people who look at music from the standpoint of marketing, not from the standpoint of music and talent. They will say, go out and get me anything that's popular now." Regional variations. According to Rhythm King Records and Lizard King Records founder Martin Heath, the A&R community in the UK is more integrated than it is in the US, being very London-centric and encompassing a relatively small number of people. If scouts are chasing a band, unregistered trademark LLC the same 30 people in one room. You get a herd mentality in the UK, but also some very diverse signings as well, he said in an interview with Headquarters. Heath believes that in the USA it is more typical for A&R to wait until a band is established having attracted other offers or achieved a level of sales before taking action, a technique which often works out as being more expensive. Recent changes. New forms of digital distribution have changed the relationship between consumers and the music they choose. Gerd Leonhard and others argue that the wide selection of music on digital services has allowed music consumers to bypass the traditional role of A&R. In the wake of declining record sales, a large number of A&R staffers have been terminated. It is unclear whether A&R executives will shape the future of musical tastes as they have in the past. Citations. References: Albini, Steve, The Problem with Music, The Baffler and later various websites. Goldberg, Danny, Bumping into Geniuses, ISBN A1-59240-483-9. Nopper, Steve, Appetite for Self-Destruction of the Spectacular Crash of the Record Industry in the Digital Age, New York, Free Press, ISBN A1-4165-5215-4. Krasilovsky, M. William. Schemmel, Sidney. Gross, John M. Feinstein, Jonathan, This Business of Music, Billboard Books, ISBN A0-8230-7729-2. Kusek, David. Leonhard, Gerd, The Future of Music: A Manifesto for the Digital Music Revolution, Boston, Berkeley Press, ISBN A0-87639-059-9. Prial, Dunstan, The Producer John Hammond and the Soul of American Music, New York, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, ISBN A0-374-11304-1. Schumer, Karen, Some Alternative Boundaries Fall, New York. Tomisa, Weissman, Dick, The Music Business: A Career Opportunities and Self-Defense, New York, Three Rivers Press, ISBN A0-609-81013. -8. External links: A&R Interviews: a database of interviews with A&R people.